Welcome back, Benchwarmers. Football is around the corner, and I'm so dang excited.
Preseason is underway, and while the first real game isn't until September 4th, we thought we'd start talking about it.
Yeah, I literally couldn't wait any longer to get back into the pigskin. So we're going to have like a little mini-series here where we predict how each division will unfold.
Let's get to it. I'm Corey, 2025 Commanders fan.
I'm Brendan, ELGSES Eagles! And this is RV from the Bench. Before we get started, if you're not already, don't forget, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell so you never miss any one of the new episodes.
Also, if you could please do us the favor, if you like what you see or hear, please don't forget to smash that like button.
Smash it for us, come on, it's free. It's free for you, it's free for us. Helps out the channel a lot more than you probably think.
Hell yeah.
All right, Corey, on to part 2. I'm super excited about football. This is part 2. We did the AFC East preview in the previous video. You guys should be able to see that online as well. And if you couldn't tell again by the introduction, we are moving on to the NFC East. Your no, you don't. Your dad likes the AFCs. We already talked about that one.
Yeah, no, we already did that.
My dad.
I was gonna say, yeah, this is your dad's division.
My stepdad loves the I don't know. Honestly, he moved to Arizona, so I don't know what he is anymore. I feel like he likes the Cowboys still, but part of him kind of roots for the Cardinals, so I don't even know anymore.
I mean, Emmitt Smith played for both, so we can go with
okay, we'll go with that. But yeah, stepdad is a fan of the Cowboys. He's not going to want to watch this video, I'll tell you that.
So he's probably not, based on the way we went down this.
So if you watched the previous one, we're basically going to go back and forth. If you didn't, I'll let you know how it's going. We're going to each give our prediction in order, well, in reverse order, of how we see the division unfolding. We'll go back and forth, 4-4-3-3. Obviously, once we get to 2-1, you'll know, if you're a football fan, you'll know exactly who's coming up. But either way, let's kind of kick it off. I think I started last time, so let's have you start this time. Who do you kind of have coming in 4th place in the NFC East 2025?
Oh, so I went back and forth on this between 3rd and 4th place a lot.
Agree, dude.
Like, I felt like at first I was like, oh, 4th, and I was like, I don't know, maybe that's a little crazy. But then I started thinking and really, and I think the Cowboys are going to end up in 4th. And the only reason I say that is, well, there's a couple, I guess, but
yeah,
Micah Parsons thing, even if they don't trade him at this point, it's a distraction, it's a hassle, it's something. And Dak Prescott coming back, how good's he going to be? Who knows? They traded for Pickens, so they have a wide receiver, but they never seem to trade for the right wide receiver and then are good at that with the offense. And Dak's health is always an issue. I think the Cowboy defense is just maybe average if they're lucky. You have a rookie quarterback or head coach in Brian Schottenheimer, who, yeah, his dad Marty was a great coach, and he's been around a long time now and as an assistant. But your first head coaching job, and not only that, your first head coaching job, and Jerry Jones as basically your puppeteer telling you what to do is never a good thing. So I just think it's a really bad combination of a lot of things. And for whatever reason in my mind, I think the Cowboys screw it up. And even if Dak is healthy, something's going to go wrong. And they're going to end up with like 4 or 5 wins and end up at the bottom of the NFC East. Now, I know that might be crazy, but for some reason, that's just my feeling going into it.
Well, call me crazy then if you think that's crazy, because I am right next to you. I don't think that they have what it takes this year. If you see them on paper, even their team isn't as good as they've been. I mean, they're losing their supreme offensive line that they've had for the past couple of years, and they just seem to overpay the wrong people. Now, Dak is probably the only exception because you have to pay a quarterback, but you didn't have to pay him that much. You could have just paid him like 2 years prior and had him for way less money. But he's still, I think, the only one averaging $60 million a year for an average quarterback. In my opinion, again, I don't think he's bad. That's not what I'm saying. I don't think he's a bad quarterback, but I just don't think he's worth the most money of any quarterback in the NFL because he doesn't produce as much as the most quarterback. Besides his 13-3 season, I think it was his rookie year or his second year.
Yeah,
they haven't really been that good at all. He's above average. He puts stats up, so maybe he'd be a good fantasy quarterback. Yeah. But we're not discussing fantasy standings here. We're discussing the real ones. So I think, giving Zeke too much money was bad. Not paying Micah and pissing him off is annoying. CeeDee Lamb is a good wide receiver, and you pay wide receivers. So that one, isn't too bad. But they seem to draft well and then just screw it up after that. So I'm kind of with you as well. Marty, no.
Brian, his dad.
Brian Schottenheimer is his first time here. You get rid of somebody like McCarthy for somebody who I don't even think was that good on the team. I think he was the OC or something like that last year.
I believe so.
And the offense wasn't that good, so I don't know how you promote him to be in charge
Well,
of everything. But
part of it is Jerry. It's Jerry's keeping it in
sure,
house, so this guy already knows how Jerry works and what to expect as far as him talking to the media
so
and
he's a
probably
yes man, and he just
shitting
shuts
on
up. Is
yeah,
what
and
you're saying?
shitting on you because if the team sucks, that's who he's going to bag on in the media.
True.
So it's and again, if you're Schottenheimer, it's your first real experience as a head coach, whether it's Jerry related or not. It is the Cowboys of the NFL, and it's your first head coaching job. So you can't say no, but I just think your expectations need to be lowered of this team if you're a Cowboys fan. But that's never going to happen. So it is
Yeah,
what it is. But I hope
yeah,
they end up in fourth, and then all the Cowboy fans can cry.
yeah. They probably will be because it looks like a really long season ahead of them. I mean, even their division alone is tough with the reigning Super Bowl champions. And oh yeah, that's right, the other team that was in the NFC Championship game
Yeah.
last year with the Commanders. So they got 4 tough games right there alone. That sounds like 0-4 to me. I don't care where you're playing, even if it is at Jerry World. You built something that has the sun shining in their face. Like, come on, bro. Like, beautiful stadium, but geez, you couldn't even put tint on the windows or something. Come on. I don't know. So I just think it's a recipe for disaster. And now I don't think there's going to be like a 2-win team, and then the
No.
third place team, who I think we actually agree on too, is going to be like 4 or 5 games above them. I think they'll be close to the
Mhm.
third place team, but I do have them last.
Yep, I'm with you. Yeah, I think it'll be Cowboys, 5 wins, and then in third place for me, I have the Giants. And again, it could be with 6 wins. It could be
Maybe 7. Yeah.
yeah, maybe 7 max. But I think the Giants are at this point with, well, especially with Dable, like this is it, man. This is your last shot with this team and this
Which is,
organization.
yes, I
Get
agree.
off to a bad start, they're throwing you out. But I would think between Jameis Winston and Russell Wilson, like, okay, between those two guys, they're probably each going to play like 6 or so games. They could each win half of that. That's 6 wins total combined. You got a couple more. Is it Jackson Dart, the kid that they drafted, right? That's the third quarterback.
Yes. Yep.
So maybe he plays the last 4 or 5 games and he sneaks out 2 wins, and boom, here you are at 7 or 8 wins. I think the Giants have more. I don't know. I get that.
Potential.
Yeah, with not potential, but just veteran experience in the quarterback room now because they had Fields last year, and it did. Oh no, it was Fields not last year. Who did they have last year? It was
They had well, not Daniel Jones. Who they have? Did they have Daniel Jones?
yeah, it was Daniel Jones, and
Okay.
because he was an Indian, and it's just been a quarterback carousel the last few years trying to figure that. Now, I'm not saying Wilson is great because he's kind of old and weird, as his Denver years were not great. Winston, but between the two of them, like, okay, you got a little bit of Winston, like happy-go-lucky guy and a team dude who gets
Bro.
everybody up, and then you got Wilson, who's the weird guy, but people still like a little bit. So between the two of them, you got to be able to sneak out at least 6 wins, I think, and get, like I said, I think third place is not that big a deal. But not 4 games up on the Cowboys. Just they're both kind of like right there, and they both suck. That's kind
I
of what I'm
agree.
thinking.
I think the thing that's going to really carry the Giants is their defense. I have them having potential to be the number 1 defense in the league this year because
Wow.
the defensive line alone is just nasty. Now they do have a little bit of holes at corner, but they have a talented squad from last year, and they drafted arguably the best player in the draft in Abdul Carter to add to that. And I'm hearing things out of camp that he looks insane. He's a super explosive. He's hard to contain, and he's going to be hungry going after Dak Prescott. I'll tell you that right now.
Oh yeah.
So to your point, Jameis, Russell, and Jackson, I think they're going to figure out something. I think Jackson Dart has a lot to learn. And to me, honestly, those are really good people to learn from.
I
Russell
agree.
Wilson's a great professional. Jameis
Mhm.
Winston's a huge professional. Big fan of him. He's a Christ follower. Shout out to Jameis.
And Jameis
And
makes things fun. I feel
yeah,
like at least.
and I don't know if you saw the video out of camp the other day. They who's the Dable. Dable was saying that they were going to be able to skip a certain part of practice if any of the quarterbacks could hit the crossbar from whatever yard line they were in. Jameis picked it up and said, "Don't worry, guys, I got you. First try, boom, dinked it right off the crossbar."
See, and
So
that's that kind of cultural thing that it changes the locker room and keeps guys playing. And again, I'm not saying Jameis is the best quarterback. He had that year
no,
with 40 touchdowns and 40 interceptions. Like he's gonna have a lot of ups and downs.
but 40 touchdowns is hard.
But he's gonna also go out there and compete his ass off. Like he might be a little gunslinger and not, be smart with the ball all the time, but he's gonna try you some things, and sometimes it's gonna pay off. I mean, he had a 5 or 6 touchdown game as a Buccaneer for a reason against the Rams back in the day. So
And last year he looked pretty good too with the Browns.
exactly, and no expectations. They just let him play and do his thing, and I think that's how the Giants are looking at it. And even if they start Russell at the beginning of the season, he might have like 4 or 5 games, and they're just like, yeah, you're okay. We're gonna try Jameis now, and then throw Jameis in there, and he can play 4 or 5. And then if they're just like, yeah, let's throw the kid in there now. So like they have options, and I know they say if you have more than one good quarterback, that means you have no good quarterback. But in this instance,
Right.
the Giants don't have a good team and have no like Super Bowl expectations this year. So that's
And I think
okay.
any of them is an improvement from last year.
Exactly. So I think third place is totally viable option for the Giants this year going in. And Dable better hope they can get close to 500. Otherwise, he's gone.
Yeah, the sad part for him is that he is known. He was the guy who basically helped get Josh Allen out of his shell. He
Yes.
got him to kind of really do well over in Buffalo, and he hasn't had the chance until Jackson Dart to
Mm-hmm.
really pick his own quarterback. He resumed what was already handed to him in Daniel Jones, who, you can call him Danny Dimes if you want, but that's about how much you should pay him. No offense. He's way better at football than I'll ever be, but
Yeah.
that's not what we're here to do. We're here to
So we
talk
pay
about
him dimes
professionals.
and pay you pennies.
I'll take that. That's fine. That's fine. Shoot, honestly, I'd love to be a little backup and a third stringer in the NFL. That's a nice, cushy job. You're almost never going to play, and you just get paid a bunch of money to
Oh yeah.
hold the clipboard. So, so yeah. So again, I think those two teams will be battling, and then it's really up to the other two teams in the division to see who's going to be fighting for the crown. Which leads us to second place. Who you got there, man?
I think it's going to be a repeat of last year. I wanted to pick the Commanders to win this division. I just think the Eagles are going to get it. So, and the Commanders, came out of nowhere last year. Obviously, Jaden Daniels is a rookie and it's a sophomore and
Had
everything.
like the best rookie year ever.
Yeah,
like
which
literally ever statistically.
There's always a sophomore slump. So he's going to, not that I'm expecting him to drop, completely to earth, but the numbers are probably going to come down a little initially. But the things that they did in order to help and maybe avoid the sophomore slump, they went and got Laramie Tunsil left tackle in a trade, who is an all pro. So that's going to protect Jaden. Then they went out and got Debo Samuel from the Niners, who is a very good, kind of a running back, wide receiver, does a little bit of everything now. They need to figure out.
He's a wild card. I'll give you that.
Yeah, they need to figure out the Terry McLaurin contract. Hopefully they do, and they can keep him in house. And then you have that weapon on top. They have Austin Eckler there as a running back. They have
Actually
a
little
options.
sneaky running back. That's true. And Brian Robinson, he's still there.
Yes, exactly.
He's pretty good.
Not that this is a huge oh my god, they got him because of the age and everything, but Von Miller on a 1-year deal to be a just kind of a couple plays here and there
on third down.
Rush. Yeah, third down. I think he's a good veteran for that team to have around. I think Bobby Wagner's still there too, and with Dan Quinn coaching as a defensive guy, I think those two guys are going to make that team just as a whole smarter on the defensive side of the ball, which makes then Jaden Daniels' job easier if they can get a bunch of turnovers, give them short fields to start, and just again, Jaden Daniels just don't do anything over the top. Do what you did last year, if not a little less.
That'd be amazing.
Overall, the Commanders will be fine.
Yeah, I too initially wanted to pick them to win the division because of the whole non-repeat in the NFC East. It's been 21 years since the last team to repeat in the NFC East. However, the last team to repeat in the NFC East was the Eagles. 4 straight division titles in the early 2000s. Well, that was with McNabb and Andy Reid. So if anybody's going to do it, it's this stacked squad in Philly. We'll get to them. Obviously, we have them first, but yeah, I wanted to do it, but I just think that the defense isn't too much improved. I agree that locker room wise, maybe smart wise is helpful, but that was the one thing that they lacked last year was a really pop defense. I mean, they were able to hold the Lions in the divisional round to like 30-something points, but they had to score 48 points or something like that to win. So it was really on the offense. And I don't think that they've done enough personnel-wise to improve it like that much. I agree with that. Von Miller is a nice person to have, but he is a little bit towards the latter part of his career. I'm with you on the McLaurin isn't happy kind of thing. They need to just pay the guy. You're not paying Jaden. Pay the weapons.
Yeah.
He's been the best thing in Washington for the past 3-4 years since he's been there. I don't know anybody else until Jaden Daniels got there.
At least 2 more years to pay him before he asks for an extension this year and next year. So pay whoever you got to pay now to make him get better. And then if the bill comes due and it's a big one for him, you figure it out then. And hopefully at that point, you've already got something to show for it, like the Rams did when they went F them picks and went and got all for it to get to the Super Bowl. You got to take the chance in the moment when you have it.
Sell out. And now that Washington's under a lot better ownership, I think that they're going to be able to kind of make some of those decisions and make them be a little bit wiser. So the one thing that I disagree with you with, and we could just agree to disagree, is I don't know about Debo, bro. I don't know. He's a wild card. I'll give you that. He brings a different element to the offense because he could do either of those things. You start him in the backfield and he might peel out or he might run the ball. I'll give you that. But I don't think he's that much of a difference maker. So that's the only part is one of the drawbacks of why I don't think he's
I'll give you that. because I think the biggest part, the bigger reason that Debo will be more effective is if Terry's there and everyone else
Agree.
is there. If Terry's not there, then the Debo thing is kind of what Terry used to do, but not as good.
Not
But
as
I think
good.
if you have them both and Eckler and everybody else and Robinson, that's when you could really use Debo and it can become
True.
something beneficial for the team.
With
But
that weird, like, where's he going to do? Where's he going to be?
exactly. But I
Lining
don't
up.
think
Yeah.
he's going to be the guy to go to necessarily,
Yeah.
but I think he can help make a difference if everyone else is still there as well.
I can
like
see that.
being a piece, not
You
necessarily.
mentioned it too, the sophomore slump. It could be what I'm thinking is going to be like a sophomore slump, like CJ Stroud had.
Yeah.
He was really, really good year one, and they made the playoffs again in year two, and then won that game because Justin Herbert can't seem to keep the ball in his receiver's hands and likes to throw it to the other team during the playoffs. So I think that's the kind of trajectory that Jaden's on. He's not going to regress so much and be like, who the heck is this guy? But having the year that he had last year, all of the crazy wins, the one score wins, the Hail Mary that bopped off somebody's head and then was like, some of that stuff is just not going to happen this time. That same play this year is going to be batted down and they lose that game. You know what I mean? So there's going to be some things here or there. And that's kind of the main reason why I chose them to be coming in second. They're a fantastic team. There's a reason why they made it to the championship game and really pushed the Eagles to the limit. Yeah. One of the only teams besides the Rams to do so in that playoff run, because obviously Kansas City didn't show up in the Super Bowl. Yeah. That was a freaking rout very early on. But I think Washington has it in them to contend for the division. I say they lose by 2 games at the most.
Kind of like last year. They'll be up there, but they'll just be a couple games back most of the year, and then it'll just run out of time.
Yeah, which leads us then obviously to the number 1 team that we've got in this division, the Eagles. Please start, my friend.
Well, you mentioned it earlier. I thought it was longer. I was going to say it was like 30 years, but 21 years since somebody's won back-to-back division titles in this. Someone
could have been born and now can legally drink.
Yeah, dude, that's almost as long as it's been since a baseball team's won back-to-back World Series. It's been 25 years since then. So we're in that same ballpark of era of time. It just, I don't know. This Eagles team seems different. They're basically bringing back most of the team from last year.
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts knows what he's doing. They've been to 2 Super Bowls with him, and then Sirianni's been there. It's a lot. Now, I know they have a new offensive coordinator, I believe, but I think the defense was the main concern of how good they were last year, and they have
Vic Fangio.
He's back and going to be there. I think the defense will carry this team as it has been doing the last few years, but when it comes down to it, Jalen Hurts and the offense will get them the win. So I just don't see them not winning at least 11 games and winning this division by at least 2 games over the Commanders.
I mean, I couldn't agree with you more. There really isn't anything about this Eagles squad besides potential crazy injuries that would really derail them from not only winning.
A Buffalo-like situation we mentioned in our previous. Like if Allen or Hurts, week 2 is out for the whole year. Well, that changes the whole dynamic and outlook of this team. But if they're healthy, there's no doubt in my mind that the Eagles are going to win.
And by the way, real quick, while we're on Jalen Hurts is the 5th best quarterback. We might do a little short on this, but he's the 5th best quarterback. I'm tired of the Jalen Hurts slander. Shout out to Art, by the way, if you're watching this. I know you probably will. He's a huge Eagles fan. And honestly, it's just crazy, man. Like, so people just think he's not that talented and that maybe Justin Herbert hasn't won anything ever.
Yep.
In professional.
Hurts has been in national title games. Like, he's not at all.
Yes. So this guy is insane, and I'm tired of the Jalen Hurts slander. He is a top 5 quarterback. Granted, he may be 5. That's fine. Yeah. But the top 4 above him are really freaking good. So, I mean, him being 5 is not that slight.
Jalen Hurts on the Titans any day of the week right now.
Exactly. And no offense to
any faith in Cam Ward and the future.
Right.
But if right now they told me who would you want and I had to pick of the top 5, I would be happy if they gave me Jalen Hurts.
I think most NFL teams would trade their quarterback for Jalen Hurts, and the Cardinals included. Kyler Murray is a fun little guy to watch. He moves his legs really fast and can run. But I've seen Jalen Hurts. Great. He's a great Call of Duty player. But I've seen Jalen Hurts run too. So this guy's great. He didn't even care about his Super Bowl ring. He's literally on to the next season. This team is too stacked to lose. And you mentioned the offensive coordinator thing. I think he's had a different offensive coordinator every single year that he's been a starter. So,
and like not just in the pros at this point, because he changed teams in college.
Went to Oklahoma.
So
So I think he's just one of those guys that's a consummate professional. It doesn't really matter who is his coach. He knows exactly what he's doing. Now, granted, they're a run-first team, but he's part of the run-first team. It's not like they only hand it off to Saquon. I don't think Saquon's going for 2,000 this year. That's a ton of freaking yards and a ton of carries last year to kind of go for it. And
a Super Bowl run on top of that. Like, you're going to take a stat. I would say 16, maybe 1,700 would be a better mark this year.
But it's super hard not to pick this team to win the division as long as they're all healthy, because this team is just too stacked as it is. Howie Rosenthal,
No, Howie Roseman.
Howie Roseman. Sorry, there, I
Oh.
was like, yeah, Howie Roseman is an insane GM. He knows exactly who to sign and when, who to trade for and when, who to draft and where. I mean, the two rookies that they drafted on defense, Quinion Mitchell and I forgot the white kid's name all of a sudden off the top of my head. Cooper DeJean. Thank you. Yeah. Cooper DeJean. Crazy pickups. Pick 6 in the Super Bowl. Only going to improve this year. Same defensive coordinator as last year. So the continuity on defense is there. I don't see anything that could derail the Eagles, not only in the NFC East, but honestly, it's going to be hard to pick anybody in the NFC to beat this team as long as they're healthy. I know we talked about hasn't been a lot of repeats or whatever, but this one might be different because this team is really good.
Yeah, well, I mean, we just saw the Chiefs go to 3 straight and win the first 2 of them. So repeats are not out of the norm or the possibilities in the NFL, especially with a team like the Eagles, because they're just built so well, as you mentioned.
Exactly. So let us know in the comments below if you've got the Eagles winning the East again like we do.
Or let us know or hit us up on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter at RVUFTB and tell us why you also have the Cowboys in last. That's what we're all hoping for, right, America? Yeah.
They're America's team, Corey. You can't say that.
Well, all America can vote for them to be in fourth.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to be very good. I agree with that. So, anyways, appreciate everybody stopping by. Thank you as always for saying things from RV from the bench. I'm Brendan.
I'm Corey. Like we always say, enjoy the sports until we talk again.
Peace.
This was a Sycamore 4th Studios production.